Hi, I'm Bill Pearis, an editor at Brooklyn Vegan, and you are listening to BV Interviews, which features conversations with some of our favorite musicians. Except today. This week, we're doing something a little different. Dave and I talked to Mikey B Rishwain, who has been programming the M for Montreal Festival and Industry Conference for nearly 2 decades. Brooklyn Vegan first went to M in 2008, and we've been collaborating ever since, co-presenting showcases and day parties at places like South by Southwest, CMJ, M for Montreal, and more. M for Montreal celebrated its 20th anniversary last November, and Brooklyn Vegan had a showcase there to kick off the festival. It was at another M showcase, though, that caused the most buzz, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to talk to Mikey on the show. We're talking about a certain French-Canadian polka-dotted Mathrock duo who may have flooded your Instagram and other social feeds recently. We get into that and also talk about Montreal bands who should have been bigger, Canadian hockey, heated rivalry and Wolf Parade, and more. Okay, let's get into it.
Hey, it's Dave and Bill from Brooklyn Vegan, and today we are very excited to be joined by our longtime friend, Mikey Rishwain. How do you say your name?
It's Mikey B Rishwain. Mikey Rishwain Bernard, to be exact, aka.
So some people just call you M for Mikey.
M for Mikey is a big one. Yeah. Some people on the West Coast just call me Mikey B. The French people call me Mickey a lot. I love it. It sounds so good. Mickey.
Podcasting makes you realize things like that you've known someone for over 15 years and maybe never had to say their last name out loud before.
Yeah, I saw you pause there when you're like, we got our friend Mikey. Oh, how do we say it? Rishwain.
Yeah. So Mikey, we know Mikey for over 15 years. We, like I said, because of his role running M for Montreal, which, Mikey, why don't you tell us what M for Montreal is for those that...
Oh God, I forgot, honestly, but no, I'm kidding. It's been almost 20 years that we've known each other. M for Montreal has been around since 2006. It was a project created between Martin Elborn from the UK. He's one of the bookers or ex-bookers at the Glastonbury. He was an agent to the Smiths and New Order at the time with the whole factory record scene blowing up. He was there for that. He was an agent at Rough Trade at the time. He went on to co-found The Great Escape in Brighton and co-founded the WOMAD Festival with Peter Gabriel. So he's just this festival head, and he just saw a lack of support in Quebec for the European markets, and he connected with a Montreal guy named Sebastian Nazra, and they created M for Montreal on a whim, just right around CMJ, which was in CMJ. A bunch of people were flying to CMJ, and we got them to stop by in Montreal on their way. There's a pit stop, and we did this as a pilot project with Besnard Lakes and Patrick Watson. Long story short, it worked out, and it's now become a pillar of the Canadian music industry for launching artists. We've been doing this for 20 years. So it's like similar to South by Southwest, but in its own Canadian boutique French way. Bill here has been there maybe 16, 15 times. We lost count, but he could tell you more than my point of view because he's an attendee.
Yeah. First time I went was 2008. Wow. And I've been almost every year since.
Missed a couple.
Almost.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I've never been to M for Montreal. I went to Pop Montreal, but I never went to M for Montreal. But I have been to South by Southwest every year since like 2006, not counting COVID. And that's one reason we all know Mikey so well as well, is not just from going to M for Montreal, but Brooklyn Vegan and M for Montreal have long partnered on events, both at CMJ and South by Southwest, especially
and North by Northeast. We did like Ty Segall, North by Northeast on a boat in Toronto, and then
that's right. And I did
Brighton,
go to that as well.
in England. We did like Wolf Parade side project, Handsome Furs. We did some cool stuff out there. Radio that's Department, true. I think, was on that lineup. Maybe Grimes was on one of those lineups. Anyways, we've done a lot of European, North American stuff. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. So we've always collaborated, even though I've never been to your actual festival. We've collaborated at other festivals. a million times. So we know each other really well. Like M for Montreal has always been a partner of our like multi-day, multi-stage day parties, free day parties, especially let's say South by Southwest, most notably up until last year. And that also always meant that Montreal bands were well represented on our lineups, which was, it always made for a really easy partnership because we already love so many Canadian and especially Montreal bands. Yeah.
We know.
It's like, and then you've got Bill up there representing, learning more about Montreal bands every year. So bringing back the
Bill's
intel.
become somewhat of a fixture at the festival and somewhat of a celebrity, a mini celebrity at M. He's just like a very sought out after guy. He's very hard to find. He's like find Waldo or whatever, like he's people. And I try to avoid pointing him out to people because I know Bill likes his peace and quiet, watches the bands, and he's very attentive, and I don't want people getting in line to bother him. And Bill doesn't like to talk more than 3 minutes anyways, unless it's something he wants to talk about. But so I like to give him his space, but Bill is very sought after. People have to Google his face and they're always on the hunt. I get this all the time during showcases. Which one's Bill Pearis? I know exactly where Bill is. He's up front. He does like me. We both stand up
That's
front
true.
where people don't freaking talk to us, where we can actually watch the band. Because if you stand anywhere in the back, these events like M for Montreal, they just want to network. And it's like, no, we're here for the music. And Bill's always showed up. He's a true champion of Montreal. Respect, Bill. Thank you.
My pleasure, Mikey. It's always a favorite trip. And I was I was supposed to go last year, which was the 20th anniversary
Man, you
of M
missed
for
out.
Montreal.
Man, you missed. I put a lot of Bill energy into this. I really was trying to impress you and make you happy there personally, and you didn't show up.
Yeah, last minute I had something that I couldn't make it there. We had BrooklynVegan had a great showcase,
the best showcase,
and but the one band who has perhaps surprisingly come out of this with the biggest profile was not on our showcase, and it's one of the reasons why we're talking to you today.
We are talking about none other than Angine de Poitrine. Did I get that pronunciation right?
No, we talked on the phone yesterday. He got it. He had 3 different ways to say it yesterday, but it's Angine de Poitrine. Bill says it well. Bill's French accent is spot on.
Let me see, Bill. Let's hear it. All right, that's what happens when you go to Montreal 20 times. You start
Angine de Poitrine, Dave. It's Angine, and they also made a typo in one email that I saw, and it's written poutine instead of.
Oh, so Poitrine. It's not just me that name has associates them with Montreal's favorite snack.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. But yeah, it's gonna. I could only tell people are gonna start confusing that. But yeah,
what does it mean?
Angine de Poitrine. Poitrine is a chest. Angine, I really don't know. I know that there's a cookie called Angine cookies, but it has nothing to do with cookies. So Poitrine has to do with chest. I really don't know what Angine de Poitrine means.
So
this is mysterious. It's like the band,
And
yeah, you did say chest, and apparently someone wrote that they did name themselves after the medical condition angina pectoris. Angine.
Got it.
I think in the US we say angina for like a heart condition. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. Angine pectoris, chest pain. It means literally. But yes, this is the band who you've seen the videos. They are polka-dotted, fully in costume, playing Mathrock, a duo. You can't miss them. Everybody that sees the video is just immediately blown away. And this band is just blowing up, which is crazy. And my first time seeing them was, Mikey, in your Instagram stories from M for Montreal.
Yeah.
I got to admit, I was like, that looks fun and that is interesting. It didn't cause me to look further, though. I just remember that. I'll never forget seeing that Instagram story, especially now. But I was just, it made me think of a band from the 2000s called Yip Yip. Do you guys remember that? They were like a costume duo as well. Also with like a black and white coloring. So, part of me was just like, oh, this wacky band in Canada. Look at that. Didn't think about it again. But then over the next few months, this band starts popping up in my feed more and more. And I didn't like fully make the connection, but it was actually a KEXP session that they recorded. All right, here's the confusing part. They're French-Canadian. KEXP is an American, U.S. radio station, but they recorded a KEXP session in France, and that video from that session officially went viral in like February 2026. And this is when this band just completely blew up. I don't know if we can give TikTok credit. I just think just the internet and algorithms in general and KEXP's video in general, maybe TikTok. But now this band is huge. They just sold out 2 nights at LPR here. Speaking of French words, I'm not going to try to pronounce. We call it LPR here in New York City. That venue, what's that? That's got to be 500 cap room.
About a 500 cap room, and it's their first and only U.S. shows, and first shows outside of Canada or France.
Yeah, everything is selling out too. That's one thing I heard, that they're continuously like trying to reschedule bigger venues instead, because it's happening.
Right. So Mikey, I know that they've been around for a little while. When did they first hit your radar, and at what point did you decide that 2025 was going to be their year?
The first time I just saw it go by, I didn't take it seriously. It seriously. I thought it was cool visually. I thought it was just an art project or something. I didn't think it was really. I didn't even think the music had anything to do with the guys. I just saw this weird art and artwork from their records too, and that's when I saw, okay, it's an actual product. Okay, so it's a band. Yeah. And then I heard like a rumor that, they've been around for 20 years, but no one knows about them. They're just stuck up in North Quebec in a very small, segregated area from Montreal. It's called Saguenay. And it's very high up there. And then I come to find out it's actually Win Butler and Regine from Arcade Fire.
I was going to make a joke and ask you if it was.
It is. They're
just
trying to cover their identity because of all the bullcrap, all the trouble that Win got into. So Regine is scolding him by wearing this mask and say, you're going to play music and no one's going to know who you are. And you look at him and you're like, oh my God, it's him. And sometimes I think Regine, when they're fighting, it's Jeremy who takes over on the drums. You can tell when Jeremy is, because he's got broader shoulders.
This makes too much sense.
Right.
But I didn't really know that Win was so skilled at microtonal instruments. That's
not true. That's false. This is not true. The honest to God truth is they've recently just they've been pointed out like who they are, their identities, and they're very disturbed by it. And I personally, like when I saw their masks and stuff, I don't want to meet them. I don't want to know who they are. I'm going to leave that mystery be. If they don't want to show their face, that's probably them saying something, right? And I was right. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody very close to them, and they're like, no, they don't want anyone to know about their private lives. They're normal dudes. They're like normal as normal can be in Saguenay, Quebec, which is, you're totally like, it's almost Alaska to us, you know? It doesn't make sense because they are just so... wow, like Frank Zappa would approve, obviously. And I think there's just something happening right now in Quebec. There's an immense sort of pride, especially in that area. Everyone is just overexcited that they're being recognized and they're being looked at. You know, their band from their hometown is blowing up as we speak. But no one knows who they are. We'll leave it at that. They've got some moniker names there. But I got to book them after I found out they started playing shows, and it was good. A coworker in a meeting was like, hey, this Angine band has just played this festival, and people were talking about it. It was like a small festival or something. And I went back to their music, and 12 seconds into like their music in the meeting, I said, let's book them right away. 12 seconds. I was like, it brought me back to like, I'm not name dropping, but I grew up in the Sacramento area with Zach Hill and that whole Hella experience. And I remember that Hella experience just reprogrammed me. I thought I was a music guy back then, but no, like that's first Hella show, like Capitol Garage in Sacramento, re-screwed my brain again. I don't know. I was trying to find myself, and it feels like that day changed my life. And that's the same kind of feeling I had when I started discovering Angine de Poitrine. not really reminding me of that, but I think people will feel that. I think it's new, it's fresh, and I think it's going to stick around for a long time. It's original, and it's not Insane Clown Posse or Slipknot like some people might think, but just some good old French Canadians. So they are still independent, and they're a little like they're taking this a little with stride right now, but they're not experienced in this. It's all too fast, and they just want to live their lives right now and like appreciate what's going on. But it's kind of crazy. Like I don't want to tell you like who's in their inbox right now, but it's happening. But they just need to step back. And I asked them, why aren't you going to South by Southwest? And they're like, it's just too much happening. I said, well, this is a perfect time for that, to get heard and get seen. And they're like, I think we're doing that already. I think they've already got enough going on. Mm-hmm. And I think they just maybe want to take a step back because they know it's going to be a busy year and it just started off too fast. So expect them to be doing a lot more. But so far, they told me all their US and Canadian shows are sold out, or especially in Quebec, they're all sold out.
If South by Southwest was smart, they would offer these guys plane tickets, hotels, and money and get them to Austin next week.
I know, man. Look, they were considering it for a minute. They really were considering it, but they're going to pass.
Right.
Speaking of,
South by would never fund them. That's kind of my point too. They probably have to.
Yeah, South by is it's his own beast, but Canada is taking a little bit of a step back on, I think, U.S. Centric events right now, or anything to do with the US, obviously, just because it's just not a good time right now. But even Canada has pulled out drastically from South by Southwest this year. There's no Canada House. M for Montreal usually puts on 3, 4, 5, events per year. This year, we're only doing one. It's just something is in the air, and it's there's been a change in management, as you know, James Minor. So I think we're all going there to actually do our homework, experience it, and see where this is going. And like I told you yesterday, Dave, this could be a good thing for the industry, but who knows? We just got to go and feel it out. Sorry, we got sidetracked with so much stuff, but we are talking about that. Yeah,
we have so much to talk about here. You've given me multiple things to respond to. I mean, one, I guess this would be a good time to say this is also going to be the first year since like 2006, not counting COVID and not counting the military year, that there was not a Brooklyn Vegan event at South by, which makes me super sad, which is also why we're not doing something together, which is partially related to why you only have one event this year, I think, and as well. And so that said, we could talk more about that. Let's go back to that though. I wanted to say, you brought up Slipknot, and I did want to talk. I did want to talk about, we have a history of mass bands. Like I said, when I first saw their video, I had a similar reaction to you. I was like, this looks funny, but I wasn't thinking this is the next big band. I thought back to kind of obscure reference, Yip Yip, and also like the Locusts, and you've got bands like Aquabats and P-Lander Z, and you think of like these kind of bands in tights. But then, also costumes have worked really well for bands like Slipknot, the Anonymity, Daft Punk, Deadmau5, Gwar, Slipknot, and like one of the biggest bands of right now, Sleep Token, right? Totally anonymous, totally behind masks. And yeah, you've just, this Angine band, I'm going to get it wrong now, pronounce it wrong the entire episode. They add them to the list of like one of the most successful bands in costumes of the moment. But I think that's, they should keep that going.
I just wonder how they're going to travel, how delicate. That's like papier-mâché, right? Like they're wearing like that's pretty delicate.
Yeah. That's papier-mâché to you, Dave.
I was like, wait, what? Yeah, that's, no, you're right. That is, I guess they have to have big cases.
A lot of it's paint, but the headdresses seem like that they're probably pretty delicate.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how they're getting this. You should see their merch guy. He's got a lamp on his head. He's a headlamp, their merch guy, and he looks just as funny as them. We can actually see his face. He looks like he grew up in the woods on mushrooms. You can tell these guys have I'll stop there.
I bet they have good merch.
That's the thing. The merch guy was pretty busy that night. They had they're selling a lot of merch, especially in Quebec.
I try. We have a Brooklyn Vegan record shop and online, and there was no vinyl available to stock. I did try to get it in the shop. So I think once these guys make vinyl, it's going to be flying as well. There's like so much potential there.
Yeah, I'm already seeing the music nerds on the comment. People are very excited. It's great. It's so fun to see people like excited about something new, unexpected. It just kind of hit everybody, and like it's really colorful. And I think we needed that these days because it's been gray as hell, you know, since the start of the year. And anyways, it's refreshing. It reminds me to put my headphones more often and ditch the news.
Is there any significance between the symbolism in their costumes? They've got like big noses. Sorry that I don't want to go there, but yellow triangles, the black and white polka dot.
I think Cirque du Soleil has something to do with it. I don't know that, you know, Quebec performative performance arts it's really big here. We have our own world of things. People are, I don't know what drugs they're on, but people do some weird shit out here or out in Quebec. And these guys are just using cool prog math rock to something very scenic at the same time. And it just, again, I think people are bored of just, you know, duos and playing the same thing. I think they have to be more original and stand out, right? Because a lot of people do that. And obviously they stood out. And maybe that's why they rose to success so fast, because they got creative. And that just really blends in well with Montreal spirit. Bill, you've been there. How many times do you see people in costumes and, you know, on Montreal, those people are very eccentric. I think this really shows it off. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that I feel like I have to have seen some band in crazy costumes at M for Montreal at one point over the years. Definitely some bands that wore like outfits like Red Mass and like
Silly Kissers.
When they
I
were
was going to say
Kissers,
that you were there in 2008. Yes.
They dressed as mimes. So if you know that band Tops, they used to be this band called Silly Kissers, the exact same members, but they dressed as mimes.
Yeah.
And
that stuck with me. I'm happy you brought that up because that performance stuck with me ever since. I never had until that point booked something so fun and weird like that. But yeah, that worked.
So where did Angine de Poitrine
So they
play
played Osgang. We put him in a hip hop venue up in on Saint Hubert Street. It's a little bit more residential than touristy area. That's the Arbutus Records office is right down the street. They owned a little restaurant bar club called Le Système right down the street there. And Osgang is a really cool venue. Really feels like, I don't know, you're in Brooklyn. Has heavy hip hop influence, but they open their doors to anybody now. But it used to be really just underground shit. So at Osgang, we put them up there with another excellent band called Patch, an instrumental band called Patch. They're great from Montreal as well. And that show was so packed. The lineup was insane. We had a hard time even getting industry into that show. I'll never forget, though. I got to bring this up because I'll never forget this moment. I was watching Angine de Poitrine side by side with Simon Raymond of Cocteau Twins / Bella Union Records, and right. he was, for an older man, he got it, and right away he wanted to take pictures, he wanted to take notes. It looks like he wanted to send emails. And after the show, I just like, what'd you think? He's like, this is brilliant. He's like, I'm going to write my booking agent friends right now. Like, this is going to be a huge deal. And sure enough, like Simon Raymond sent an email that night, and a good friend of, I believe yours too, John, I think at Rome, signed them. And John wasn't even there. He just went off Simon Raymond's words. He's just like, he trusted Simon. Obviously, Simon's credible. So things just started happening right there on the spot. Even that show, Duncan Smith from Earth Agency signed him on the spot. They were getting that's what M for Montreal is made for. We put him in front of cool people who can make shit happen, right? And we did that with Mac DeMarco, as you know, right? It's very seldom that we have an act that overnight just worked, on the spot. And this is one of those bands. Like it was a no-brainer, and putting him in that situation in front of all those people, I think right then and on, I knew this is going to be a busy 2026 for this band if they're talking to all these people right now. And it just snowballed now because of KEXP and that festival in France, Les Trans. That just threw them out there to the masses, and who knows what's happening next. And I think they are a little, not nervous, but they're really grateful for what's happening. They just, I don't think they expected this. And they just, again, they need to stop for a bit and realize what's going on and just pick up, I don't know. It's just been it's happening too fast for them, I think. And like, again, they come from a small town and they played little bar dives and stuff, and they never expected to be on millions of views on KEXP. This is insane. But again, even Quebec is very, as a culture and everything right now, they're very, very excited that this band is making the headlines as they deserve it. We all knew something special. We had something special, but now knowing that the whole world is seeing it, it's like our little secret has been shared with the world, but we're super happy. Yeah.
So their timeline is really interesting because, like you said, everyone just heard about them right now. Some people might be learning about them on this episode, but they supposedly formed in 2019, but they didn't really begin performing consistently until 2023. They released an album called Volume 1 in 2024. They played M for Montreal in November 2025. The viral moment happened February 2026. This podcast is being recorded on March 5th, 2026. And they apparently have a Volume 2 and their next album coming out on less than a month, or no. Yeah, April 3rd, 2026, Volume 2.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also with really cool cover art drawing of them playing in front of a yellow pyramid and with their yellow pyramid symbols on them. If we didn't already make it clear in the duo, like you said, they each have monikers. One of them is KHN de Poitrine. And the other guy is Klek, K-L-E-K, de P-word. KHN plays guitar, bass, and microtonal instruments, and Klek plays drums. What are microtonal instruments?
I'm going to refer to Google on that one.
Bill.
They are used a lot in Indian music for one thing. So basically, if you look at a guitar, like the frets are kind of far apart. Imagine a guitar that has like twice as many frets. So there's like twice as many notes that you can hit. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard have made at least 3 albums of their 300 albums that they've put out in the last 15 years that are specifically microtonal. It's like prog bands, and then there's ultra prog bands, and then there's, microtonal, which really gets into this sort of mathiness, and it takes a special person and a special mind, I think, to be able to play
You're
microtonal
making me
instruments.
Think King Gizzard really needs to take this band out on tour, but also this band's already, yeah.
I'm sure.
It's the same thing. Look, my exact last year was Glass Beams on Ninja Tune. Like, I saw a clip from a festival. I think it was Glastonbury. My jaw dropped. And I bought it. I didn't buy a ticket. I got on the list, but I went to go see them the next show. I feel like this is kind of the same thing happening with Angine de Poitrine, but much more math rockier than Glass Beams. But I think they have a similar, like, they're all wearing masks, they're all super mysterious, and I feel like I jumped on Glass Beams. I was so excited to see them. I was all about it. I think that brings a mystique to everybody's appeal right now. I don't know, it works. People don't care what you look like anymore, and I think we should use that as a reference. Music is not to be seen, right? It's to be heard and felt.
Yeah, but specifically, they have chosen a look which makes people stop. And then, like, at first you think, is this the Banana Splits or something? But then you like hear them and you're like, whoa, what are they doing? And it's hard to get your head around like all the stuff that they're doing because they're using loop pedals. And yeah, you have to like watch it 2 or 3 times to really get your head around.
Bill, like, what is their sound to you? We haven't talked that much about their sound. So yeah, I want to hear from Bill.
It is instrumental math rock. It's kind of funky, but in that math rock way that it's all like geometry and angles and complicated, but there's something primal about it too that just like goes straight to you. There's a little bit of like hip hop and stuff like that in there, but also metal and definitely a lot of prog. And
hey, it brings me back to Les Georges Leningrads a bit, which they started like in 2000 and the early 2000s. Like I feel there's some sort of Les Georges spirit in there too. Yeah, that's just my thing.
You also mentioned Terra Melos.
Yeah, Sacramento. Nick,
yes.
Those are my friends. Yeah, those are good friends of mine.
And live, Mikey, you said it totally translated. People were...
Yeah, live is where it's at. Yeah. I don't know if you guys experiment with mushrooms. I really suggest doing it with Angine de Poitrine. I haven't tried it yet, but I could imagine it could be a big mushroom following band.
Now, Mikey, had you seen them before the M for Montreal showcase?
I was in a different country, and I was just looking at the Instagram stories from the live thing, and I was just like, this is perfect. It was a no-brainer. You just put those costumes on stage, and you don't have to play any music, and people will be like, wow. So I just I went with my gut and just like did it without seeing him live, which is rare, but this was, again, just look at it, and just the videos alone, this smaller place looked, the cooler it looked like, and again, I thought they were going to be a gimmick band, right? But when I saw those stories, like, no, this is actually happening. This is a real band. Let's go. And I never book bands based on just a gut feeling like that. It's hard because you have to see it live to really experience it, make sure it's going to be, quality, because we're showcasing this for a lot of important people. So like, I just went for it, and it was the best decision I made that year.
Definitely. And like you said, they're trying to not jump into anything too much. Those New York shows are not till September. And their new album comes out in April. So who knows what we'll see between
and hopefully they
there.
add some more New York City shows, because those two sold out like instantly or something. Yeah.
Instantly.
We haven't. Yeah. It's wild what's happening here. So we talked about this show was obviously a huge highlight of M last year. The Brooklyn Vegan Showcase, which had
you guys weren't even there. Can I even tell you about that real quick?
Yeah,
like
go
this
ahead.
this was the opening night of our 20th anniversary. Okay. And we were at Fofun Electric, Montreal's oldest, most legend. It's the CBGBs of Montreal, right? Like Smashing Pumpkins played there, Nirvana played their first show there, etc. So we brought these delegates to this, cracked out gothic punk hardcore room. It's very big capacity. And we booked the wildest show. And this is, again, in the Brooklyn Vegan spirit, completely Brooklyn Vegan spirit, and in the spirit of M for Montreal. And at that specific venue, we had truck violins, which are just, I don't know if you guys got into this one, but that's also another live band. It's very moving. It's poetic. It's hardcore. I don't want to call it emo, but it's emotional as fuck. And there's also another band on that bill who just blew everybody away. They're called Piss from BC. Wow. Again, super poetic, very political. I just like, that was a moment at M that no one's ever going to forget. And then there was Ribbon Skirt. Obviously, you guys are aware of Ribbon Skirt. Love that band. And there was one more band on that bill, and I think I forgot, Bill. Who was it? Joker Islands. Oh, Annie-Claude Deschamps from Duchess Says.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Oh, so like we got the weirdest people, what the weirdest bands on our whole entire lineup. We stuck them in the weirdest venue, and we slapped Brooklyn Vegan on there with you guys on there. You guys approved it right away. You were like, dude, this is totally your content, right? So that was just that just broke the ice, because a lot of these industry guys, they like to come in thinking they're too cool for school, or they're stuck up in some cases. I gotta say, like, it's not like the LA days anymore. The Brits and the French now, the new generation of industry are nice. They're fun. They're curious. They're open. Unlike those douchebags from LA and New York who used to think, those gatekeeping guys they don't matter anymore. It's over, right? So egos aside, we have good people in the room. We had the weirdest room, the weirdest bands, and there was moshing, and there was just, there was moshing, a lot of moshing. And wow. It was just great to see the industry really, like, they've seen everything, this industry, right? And once they stepped foot in that room, they were in a discovery mode, and they were excited, and it was just the perfect break the ice moment we've ever had in 20 years. Anyways, you guys were there in spirit. gave you guys shout outs. And that was important for us. And again, I put this together because of our long lasting relationship and Bill's support and attending M so many years. I wanted to give you guys something to be proud about. And that was aside from Angine de Poitrine, that showcase was the most buzzing showcase of the festival.
And the buzz continued. I feel like you said, Ribbon Skirt was on there. We were excited about that. M takes place in late November. About a month later, Ribbon Skirt, shockingly to me, just compared to other end of year lists, Exclaim put that album as #1 of 2025. Did you see that?
So good. It's so good.
Yeah. And Truck Violence, by the way, first learned about them when we were looking for Montreal bands to book on South by South 2025. And they kind of stood out because they're like hardcore punk, and there weren't too many other bands on South by that were like them, or we weren't, our showcase wasn't going in that direction. So I guess the story I'm going for is what I learned about them through that experience. Kind of much to my surprise, Pitchfork then gave them Best New Music. Did you see that?
Yeah. That's why their showcase was packed the next day at South by Southwest.
Oh yeah, that
couldn't get in. Yeah.
And like you said, Annie from Duchess Says, long history.
Yeah.
There are some bands that I really associate with our relationship and our just love for Montreal's music scene. And Duchess Says, and the craziness of Montreal bands. And Duchess Says up there is one of our favorites.
Oh yeah.
In all those categories.
Yeah, Godfathers in a sense, man. I mean, them and Les Georges at Leningrad put weird into Montreal and it never left, you know? And you see it today with Angine de Poitrine.
I want to say Duchess Says played in 2008, the first year that I went, and that was just a completely like off the hook show. And then they headlined the Brooklyn Vegan showcase at M for Montreal, and maybe
We Are Wolves were on that bill too. That was insane. Those were the bands at the time. Like, yeah. Sorry, memories. M for Memories, man. But yeah, thank you guys, by the way, for all the love and support and what you guys do. And like, look, dude, like, there's not many people who represent like culture and they don't go off and like show off in the United States about that. But you guys do it in your own way, and it just naturally transcends through people. They get it, and you guys are so important, not only to M for Montreal and me, but you know the whole culture where we're at today and everything. And thanks for keeping our mind off all this bullshit that's happening in the world and dialing us back into why we're in this game. This music thing is so important for a lot of people, especially in these days. And you guys are a big part of that to bring us some sun and some joy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Really Mikey. Appreciate it.
And
may we do many more years. But like I said, sadly, we will not be at South by this year, but you will be. So what bands what bands are you bringing to Texas?
So we're collaborating with a few friends of ours from Montreal and Canada. It's going to be a collaborative effort with Mothland. Mothland's a Montreal label agency. They're the weird kids keeping M for Montreal weird on the streets. Anyways, Mothland, M for Montreal, Range, which is out of BC, and Exclaim from Toronto. We're going to be presenting 2 stages at Swan Dive, and that's going to be on the Saturday, I believe. Saturday the 14th. Does that make sense?
South by's confusing this year with music, film, and tech all happening at the same time, and like so the last music continues after the weekend. It's all messed up weird this year. But yeah, you're on Saturday.
Yeah, so Saturday at Swan Dive, 2 stages, front and back. And there's also Project Nowhere who are on this showcase with us. So the bands are Shunk, Brainwasher, Stelma, Boutique Feelings, Hot Garbage, Balaclava, Ancient Grease, Cali Horse, Double OZ, Spoonbenders, and CDSM. That's going to be again at Swan Dive, March 14th. We'll be there, and we'll keep you guys in spirits. We'll have drinks to you guys. This is the first year Brooklyn Vegan won't be like. I mean, even that year you guys didn't do any projects. You still showed up, and that was the best year to see you there. You had fun. You weren't stressing out because you're always stressed out running around and running shit. But that year you were laughing. You were having a good time. You stopped at our showcase. You did things like you were active, and like it's like I wanted to see that this year, and I'm really sad that you won't be there. And I'm gonna make sure that I get back to you with a report personal about the experience without Brooklyn Vegan. And I really do hope y'all come back next year, because that's essential. That's becoming a tradition. It's a routine every year at South by. And again, people trust you guys. They don't have to know the bands that are playing at your showcases at South by. They're gonna go there and discover their new stuff there anyway. So that's gonna be sad, because you're not gonna see that kind of curation at South by that we trust. You guys have been loyal to South by, and I hope that you guys will return, because it's, I think, really important for even the locals in Austin. Like Brooklyn Vegan shows in Austin are a big deal. You know, they always have. They're just as big as our free poutine parties.
Definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. And it is sad that we won't be there this year. I was going to say, you said I went to your showcase 2 years ago, the year we didn't do something. And I will say one of the highlights of that show was Hot Garbage. So
they're
nice
back
that
this
you
year.
have them back this year. Yeah. I really, that's the show I think I kind of discovered them at.
Okay.
Really like that set. Yeah.
I think I saw Hot Garbage and Truck Violence in 2024. Maybe
Yeah,
it was like the Mothland showcase at La Sala Rosa.
That was the first time I saw Truck Violence too, and I was just like, oh wow, man.
That was when they played in the middle of the room, like in total darkness, basically.
Cool show. You need to come back and re-experience the new Mothland shows there. I mean, it's the same old weird shit, right? But like, it's just so much hype, man. We're excited to host them and to be with them at South by Southwest this year. Share that momentum with Mothland. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Are you a fan of hockey?
I am, obviously. What do you mean? I'm part Canadian, eh? Like, it's a part of our culture. Yeah, it's part of our, it's like the politics for you guys, you know, like, oh, Patty Bond or whatever these names you guys know by heart. We hockey players to us are like, it's our Hollywood celebrities. It's our main politicians. We look up to this like it's church, man. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. So being from both California, Sacramento, California, and Montreal, who were you rooting for?
Well, I've always been a fan of the Quebec Nordiques, which were sold to the Colorado Avalanche. And the year the Americans bought our team, they won their first Stanley Cup. That was the biggest fuck you to Canada I had ever seen at my point in life in time. So I was rooting for the Avalanche. And then because San Jose is right by Sacramento, I'm from Stockton specifically, but San Jose, I went to their first ever game at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. That's how Canadian in California I was. I was there as a kid. And I rooted for the Sharks for many years, but now I'm all Habs, man. Montreal Canadiens. It's just, it all goes back to the root, and that's where I am.
You must have been torn a little bit.
It was,
for the
it was
Olympics.
weird because I'm 50-50 Canadian American right down, and I have love for both, and I have a lot more. I'm not gonna talk crap on the U.S. right now, but like I have a lot of resentment for the States right now. But I really was bummed when Canada lost. I thought I was gonna be bitter about the whole situation, but after seeing Hugh, the goal scorer in the overtime speak, and his speech was really meaningful about the hockey, the U.S. brotherhood. And they talked about Goudreau, which I don't know. I think I saw their hearts in the right place, and I started being happy with the outcome. So I accepted it. But my first instinct was like, nah, this sucks. This is not right. But it's been 47 years since they won a gold medal, right? So like they deserve it, and they worked hard, and they played really well. And that goaltender, come on, he deserves a gold medal more than anybody in the Olympics. Anyways, that's all I gotta say.
I meant to set my alarm to watch that game. It was on a Sunday at like 8 a.m. and I failed to do so.
It was Sunday morning. I
afterward.
had to put my phone on airplane mode all day, not to get anything. I had to go to mass. I had to go to church. I had to go to brunch with no phone up until 3 p.m. where I watched it on DVR just to get the live experience. But it felt good cutting my phone off for half the day. It felt so darn good. And the Olympics made me realize that. But yeah, I watched it on DVR, and it was worth it, man.
While we're talking about hockey, we would be remiss not to bring up Heated Rivalry, especially with the Montreal music scene
and
connection.
you know, our buddy Peter is the music guy behind that. He's the music. Yeah, dude. Like,
is that right?
I found out the other day. I couldn't believe it. So this guy named Peter from Montreal moved to France for a couple years. Brilliant singer-songwriter, was asked by the producer director of Heated Rivalry to be the music score writer or whatever for the series, and he took it. So that's really cool. That gives him something. Yeah, they've been connecting a few Montreal bands on there, and that's always good. You know, you have to blend it in if you're going to talk about hockey being based in Montreal. You're going to have to come up with some Canadian bands. So yeah, I think that gave a big plug to a few artists and francophone artists as well, which is cool.
And especially Wolf Parade.
Yeah. They're back too, eh? They're playing, they just announced Osheaga this year, I believe.
Yeah. I was saying on another episode of our podcast that it felt exciting because Wolf Parade, they're having this huge moment thanks to this show. At least for the song, and Sub Pop put out like a solo piano version that Spencer did live a couple weeks ago, and they reissued the vinyl of the album. So I thought, okay, they're announcing shows and they're on Osheaga. I'm like naively expecting to see them on the top line, but they're still about 3 lines down to the right. So it's a little reality check, I guess. I mean, come on, Osheaga, give Wolf Parade a little more respect there. But yeah, is it like, have you felt that Wolf Parade excitement in Canada again?
I don't feel it anymore, honestly. Maybe this heated rivalry thing might have had an impact, but I didn't know there was such a resurgence on this band. I just remember when I first heard them, I practically left my apartment in California, moved back to Montreal. I was just like in fucking love with Apologies to the Queen Mary, and I was living in Long Beach. I could see the Queen Mary ship from my house. And this Montreal band came out with this album about the ship that was across. I had this weird, I felt like I was being pulled by 2 different worlds. And I ended up leaving Montreal that year. I left Long Beach to go back there and experience that music revival of like the Unicorns, Wolf Parade, the Stars, the Deers, Broken Soul. That scene was popping. I know you guys are all about it, but me, I had ties to Canada. I was like, fuck the States. I'm leaving this bullshit. And I went to Canada, and it was an all-you-can-eat buffet of good music left and right, and I never turned back. Well, I did turn back, but I did come back to California. But that time and space was special, man, and it really it's probably the reason why I'm still in music today, and I'm just really grateful to have been part of that, seeing some of this shit in real life. You know, fuck the internet. You have to just get off your ass and go places, huh, Dave?
Yes, Wolf Parade. Wolf Parade, of course, a big band for me as well in real time back then, and a big band for BrooklynVegan in general. But yeah, I don't. If you
for sure,
you missed it. I'll Believe in Anything. I'll read Wikipedia. In December 2025, the song was used in the song. Wait, okay, who edited this? The song I'll Believe in Anything. Oh, the episode was named after the song. That's why
the song? Sorry, which song was it?
I'll Believe in Anything.
Can you sing it for me real quick, Dave, just so I can remember?
Bill will sing it. Bill's good at singing.
No, I will not.
You know this song.
We don't want to get a copyright strike, because I do such a good Spencer Krug that it would be indistinguishable.
You'll know it the second you hear it. It's a big one on that record. So it was used in the 5th episode of Heated Rivalry, which was named after the song. The track plays during an important scene where the character Scott Hunter comes out as gay. Following the episode's release, Billboard Canada reported that global streams of the song increased by more than 2,650%. Wolf Parade subsequently issued a reissue of the single and a hockey-themed t-shirt. That's right. You could also get the hockey-themed t-shirt along with a pink reissue of the full album, pink vinyl. That's like the song that was on Pitchfork's 200 best songs of the 2000s list. Big one for Wolf Parade.
That's huge. That's crazy. Have you guys watched the series?
I still haven't seen it.
I have not, but I will say I'm a big fan of showrunner Jacob Tierney. He has another Canadian hockey show. It's called Shoresy.
I saw that on the.
It's a offshoot of this other of Letterkenny, and it also uses tons of mid 2000s Canadian needle drops. Every hockey fight like goes into slow motion, and they just use like mid 2000s like Bloghouse. So you get a lot of like Death from Above, 1979, and Rat-a-Tat, and groups like that. I remember watching it, it's like, man, this show like loves mid 2000s music. They also use a lot of like weird like folk from that era as well. But I highly recommend Shoresy, and I need to watch.
Have you watched
Rivalry,
it?
But I haven't seen it yet.
I've only been past one makeout scene, one heavy makeout scene, and it got a little hot, and I had to like roll up. It's February in California. I had to roll up my windows, and I needed to take a break and take a couple deep breaths. And I'll be waiting for the second episode soon. But it was pretty heavy. It was pretty like, damn, yeah. I just wanted to see the production for the first episode to see if I'm gonna. I always do that. I watch the first episode and I decide later if I want to go back to the rest, if it intrigued me, if it pulls me back in.
So yeah, I see your boy Peter is listed as both the opening theme song composer and composer of the show. Is he actually also the music supervisor?
I don't know if he's a music supervisor. I think he's just composing music. And it's funny because he mentioned the other day, he's just like, I always wondered when I was going to, get older, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not going to play shows forever. He's like, I'm probably going to be one of those guys who like, makes music for movies. And he never thought about doing this professionally until he got a phone call from the guy from Heat of Rivalry. He says, hey man, I'm a fan of your music. I was wondering if you wanted to help me with this series. And he's like, his dreams came true. So like, it just happened for him naturally. And now he's really excited about it. And I'm really happy for him too. Peter.
Here's some other artists on the soundtrack though. Dilly Dally.
Yeah. From
Didn't
Toronto.
expect that one.
Thick.
Yeah. Feist. Not too surprising.
Never heard of her.
No, yeah, never heard of her. Baxter Dory, who is not Canadian and his biggest fan, is on this podcast with us right now.
It's true.
And Tattoo, are they Canadian?
No.
Like are we talking the Russian team
yes,
from the early 2000s?
We are, in fact.
Tattoo? Not gonna get us
now. But yeah, so that's it.
I've got a question for you, Mikey. You were there in Montreal. You said you went back and you were there through the height of that sort of scene. What's a band that you loved that never quite got
That's
what
a
they
hard
deserved?
one, man.
I'm sure you have many.
Yeah.
But I will offer up my suggestion to this, and I know Dave likes them too.
Oh, come on.
Think About Life.
Man. Shit. Oh, I just spun them the other day on the CBC radio thing, and CBC radio were all so happy because people don't talk about them anymore, and some people don't know about them. But my God, you're right. That band had that. They were on that tip off where that's indie sleaze thing with the block party world was just kind of ending, but they brought their own little twist to it, and it was the coolest street thing for that time and place. It made sense. You're right. You hit the dial on that one, man, because like I thought that was going to be huge. Like, this is going to be the next big thing. Like, again, that was during that whole Wolf Parade thing. But these guys had that energy that they can make everybody in that room feel it and dance, And that is very sad that they never got to live up to their potential. You're right.
Yeah. They played, I want to say it was an M for Montreal show at CMJ at Arlene Grocery. It might have even been like one of the poutine parties that you guys threw. Silly Kissers that we talked about earlier were also
probably on there too.
And maybe, but definitely Think About Life. Like the room blew up when they.
Hey, I don't remember, if you know what I mean.
But definitely they were a band. Like why didn't they get completely huge? And I'm sure there's multiple factors. But
they were on a small label called Alienate Records. I remember that, and I just remember that label was just like cool guys, but like they didn't really like push to be like, like massive label. And I think that band at that time was just also, I think the singer had a little bit of, he was in his own world, even though he brought that world on stage and everybody wanted to be a part of it. He just was very more reserved, and he didn't, even though he was in the spotlight, he didn't crave the spotlight, I don't feel. And maybe that's what was the downfall of the band. They weren't really they weren't into that old glamorous lifestyle, I guess. They're very simple. I see him riding his bike in Montreal and just like being a normal average guy, and I'm like, this guy is like you said, like this guy could have been like the next big thing, like, oh my gosh, all that jazz in there too, the horns and everything, like it's so good.
They were so good. Everyone should go to the streaming service of your choice or Bandcamp and go check out Think About Life. They're really
even
worth,
today, 2020.
revisiting.
I listened to it last year and I was like, it still sounds like this just came. It still sounds crisp. Oh, so much love in there.
Love Think About Life. And I was just saying, like you said, that guy just kind of disappeared too, right? Some of the other members went on to some other things. Graham Van Pelt, most notably in my mind.
Miracle Fortress.
Yeah. And then
Cecile was Mozart's sister for a while.
And she was just on some this guy Daniel Avery, who is signed to Domino now and is sort of like a techno guy. His album Tremor that came out last year had her singing on like two tracks.
Cecile
That's really
Believe
great.
she goes by. Yeah, after changing it from Mozart's
Cecile
sister.
Believe.
Yeah, I see she's got a bunch of collaborations.
She unlike the singer, you could tell she was determined with her music. She went off to do a lot of her own things. She was very active. But Think About Life, just like, I don't know, I must have been just a singer because the rest of the members all kept going, right, and individually, independently. So yeah, back to that rumor. I think he was just in his own world and really didn't. That was a fun time for him, but I don't think he wanted to make it his life. Think About Life.
Right.
All right. So before we leave, Mikey, I want to ask you what else you have going on to promote. I do know one of the answers, which is kind of confusing because we know you as a Montreal guy. We know you as a Sacramento guy. But from what I understand, you are part of a new music venue in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah. That's happening this year. I wanted to go more into detail and tell you the name and everything, but I got to keep it hush. But Reno, Nevada is like 2 hours away from Sacramento. We grew up going out there just as much as San Francisco, an hour and a half away. So it's just like a cool little party town to your friends' bachelor parties or go out with your girlfriend or whatever. It's just like a nice little town by Lake Tahoe. And I am making a move there with some friends of mine from Sacramento. We're launching a 1,000 plus capacity venue. It's a legendary music venue that was once there before, and it's reopening under a different name. And I'm working with the people behind these are the people I started working with in the industry when I was 16. They're still very consistent. They run some of the most successful venues in Northern California. And I've known them since I was a kid. And like I said, they're like family. So this was like, man, it's not every day you get offered to work with like family friends in a business that you love, So, and Reno's 2 hours away from Sac, and there's a lot of potential in Reno. I know people have their Reno 911 ideas of the town, but it's very colorful. It's really gritty. It's no Las Vegas, that's for sure. And it's much more nature. It's people, they have Lake Tahoe. They really respect, the outdoors. And it's a fun 24/7 town. We'll be well located, and we're going to bring the best shows in Reno and Northern Nevada. So I'm really excited about that. But M for Montreal is still that's my thing, that can't go anywhere. That never will go anywhere. It's a lifetime dedication. So I have a great team in Montreal that is helping me on the day-to-day. They are super dedicated, young, hungry, and they're thriving, and I'm thriving with them. So I'm becoming more like a director in a sense now than doing all the work, the dirty work, you want to say. But I have a great team, and I'm expanding to North America, and I'm going to have you guys in Reno for sure. You should come out there and record a podcast from one of those weird casinos downtown. Yeah, but Reno, coming for you. And Montreal, I'm from Montreal. It's my 20-year anniversary, my personal 20 years with them for Montreal. So it's a big year for me. It's a milestone. Things are looking good. Montreal's in better shape than ever. M for Montreal's in good shape. And here's my doggy, Misha.
Why did you wait so long
Because
to bring the dog?
She was complaining. She's getting tired of me talking to you guys.
All right. I'm tired of us talking too. I get it.
I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Merci beaucoup. Talk to you guys
See
later.
you later.
Peace out.
Bye. All right, thanks again to Mikey B Rishwain for being on this week's show, and look out for Angine de Poitrine, whose 2026 is just starting. Meanwhile, you should check out our other podcast, BV Weekly, where my coworkers Dave and Andrew, sometimes I'm on it too, discuss the week's hot button music news, the latest releases, and more. You can also follow Brooklyn Vegan on social media, and if you like this episode, be sure to tell your musically minded friends about it, as well as do all those other things. You know, like, subscribe, write us a review, give us 5 stars, all that kind of stuff. It really does help us reach more ears. Big thanks to our mix engineer Nick Gray and Michael Silverstein for the theme music. I'm Bill Pearis. Thanks for listening.